All right, guys, good morning. Welcome to a morning edition of Fox 5 Live here from the Fox 5 newsroom. I am Mike Thomas, of course, and we're going to be doing a quick weather update just in case, folks are on the road this morning. They can't catch Tucker. Tucker is on. Hello, Denise. Hello, Ann. Hello, everybody. Turn it up, they say. All right, let me turn the mic up to maximum power. Hopefully everybody can hear me now. Okay, let's do it. We're just real quick. It's about this storm that's coming up on Friday. It's not a snowmaker here, maybe out towards the mountains to the west, your mountain peaks, Garrett County, Maryland, mountain peaks of West Virginia under winter weather advisories. Here in D.C., the much bigger story is going to be the winds. Let me pull up radar for you real quick. We'll show you how things are shaping up at this hour. Here's how it looks outside right now. You can see heaviest rains down to the south, coming up through Tennessee, North Carolina, starting to push into southern portions of Virginia. It's not going to be a flooding rain. It may come down a little moderately from time to time, especially kind of evening commute and then evening hours tonight. Right now, we're mostly dry outside here in D.C. Sun's coming up and starting to get a little brighter out there. We do have showers starting to push into, it looks like almost to western portions of Loudoun County. Very light. Again, the steadier stuff's going to hold off until later on this afternoon. And then the bigger story is going to be just what the winds are able to do as we head into your day on Friday. All right, let me pull up models for you. We'll go through it real fast. Of course, here is us here in D.C. We're kind of right where my mouse cursor is, showing that, showers kind of start to come up and fill in a little bit as we head towards your 3-4 o'clock hour. Maybe heavier rains tonight. That is 8 o'clock tonight, showing some steadier rains, D.C., Baltimore. That's this area low pressure up here. You can kind of see that L right there. That area low pressure is going to what we call transfer its energy to the coastline. So it's going to go from there over to there. You'll see another low pop up here in just a minute. Watch this. Boom. There it goes. It's pulling off to the coastline, and it's rapidly deepening. It's what we call one of these bomb storms. And when we call something a bomb storm, basically what we mean is it's a rapidly intensifying cyclone, which means we measure storm strength in millibars. It's dropping more than 24 millibars in 24 hours or less. So that's what we define as a rapidly intensifying cyclone. That's what it is. Now it's off to the north of us. See how the low is kind of up just off the coast of, say, Long Island or New Jersey. Since it's that far north, we don't get the snow. You see all the heavy snows, New York, northern portions of Pennsylvania, even interior portions of Massachusetts switching from rain to snow pretty quickly as this thing intensifies. Here in D.C., if you look closely enough, you can see we do have some snow showers that want to come down our way as we head into your Friday morning. That wouldn't be any big deal. If we get any flakes, they'll be one of those fancy conversational cool to see types of things, and then it's melting on contact. It's not going to come down heavy enough to stick, at least not here locally in D.C. The only areas that are going to get accumulating snows are your mountains. Look at your mountain ranges, what we call upslope flow snow showers. They'll get several inches of snow out of this, your mountaintops out there to the west. But again, here, low-lying areas in D.C., we might see some flakes as this storm intensifies, but we're not going to have anything that's going to cause any issues in the snowfall department. The bigger issues will come with the winds. And just to kind of show you what the snow is going to do, again, if you're traveling north tomorrow, you're certainly going to want to check your flights, and I'll go through some flight issues in just a minute. But Philadelphia, New York City, snowing during your Friday afternoon time frame. Even Boston, we'll get into the snow at the end of it, and then you can see the storm pulls off. That's what the latest models are showing snowfall-wise. Again, nothing. It gives 0.1 to DC. I doubt it. Again, if it's anything locally, we get a little bit of flurry and snow shower activity, and it doesn't even stick. What you get up to the north now, if you're going to New York, look at that. I mean, that's blizzard almost 2 to 3 feet of snow. In some cases, I mean that shade of white you see right where I just kind of drew that mark. That's the model putting down 77 inches of snow. Probably a little extreme, but maybe some of the mountaintops out there could get into the 4 or 5 feet range, but not the low-lying areas. Anyway, the point being, the heaviest snows are going to be up there in New York. Here, we're missing out on the blizzard conditions. But again, we will start to see the winds really intensify. Let's go through this one more time, and we're looking at winds now. Low pressure going up through Ohio today. Winds are not bad today. Winds are just fine today. But what's happening is this storm is going to try to go north, but it can't because it's what we call blocked up here. And what the heck do I mean by that? Let's go over. This is a wider look of the northern hemisphere here of the North American region. there where I just drew the black dot, that's DC. Off to the north here, you see all this red, that's what we call a big, strong upper level block. And because we have that in place, as the storm tries to go up, it hits it, all this red up there, it can't move that way, so instead it has to go east. And you're going to see that happen again as I continue to go a little bit farther forward here. See how it redevelops off the coastline. And watch as it really deepens. You see all the deep reds coming here? That's the wind field around this thing really starting to pick up. And we're pulling winds out of the north and west tomorrow, especially kind of early to mid-morning hours. Looks like when winds will be the worst. You could be sustained 20 to 30 mile an hour winds, which I know doesn't sound that bad, but it's your wind gusts that'll get you. And we'll go through wind gusts in just a minute. I do want to address an issue that people have asked me about, which is what about the beaches and storm surge? So around these big storms, wind blows counterclockwise. So if I drew a very poorly drawn circle around that area, low pressure, winds are doing this. So where you get your storm surge is when you're on the northern flanks of these storms, because all this wind up here towards New England, that's all coming onshore. You're taking the ocean, you're pushing it towards the land. We're on the southern side of the sky as it's rapidly intensifying. So all our winds are coming off land and out to sea. So if you get storm surge issues, it's those who live on the immediate eastern side of the bay. That's facing west, that's facing the mainland. That's where you'll get some storm surge issues. But for the beaches themselves, no, not so much, because you're blowing the water out to sea. You're not taking the water and pushing it into sea. I hope that or into land. I hope that makes sense for everybody. So I'm not expecting the beaches to have major storm surge issues, but they'll get strong winds, just like we will see strong winds here. In fact, we may even get low water levels in the bay because you're wrapping winds out of the north and west here. So that's going to try and push some of the water out of the Chesapeake Bay. And I forget if that's the Delaware Bay right there, I believe it is, might see low water levels as well because of the direction of the wind. Here's forecasted wind gusts. This is at 7 a.m. tomorrow morning. I know it's hard to read. This is from the National Weather Service. Winds gusts of 35 miles an hour tomorrow morning. Out to the mountains to the west, that zone of red there is 50 miles an hour plus wind gusts tomorrow morning. Heading into tomorrow mid-morning, this is 10 o'clock tomorrow morning. That's a 48 mile an hour wind gust model. These are just models. But generally speaking, it's showing that the potential is there for 40, 50, even 60 mile an hour winds, especially in this zone, Loudoun County, Fairfax County, Prince William, Fauquier counties across northern Virginia. These are all areas under a high wind warning, which I'll show you in just a second. Continuing to go into the afternoon, this is 1 o'clock. It's showing a 46 mile an hour wind gust here in D.C., 48 for Frederick, 50 up towards, I believe that's like the Harper's Ferry. It's farther north than Harper's Ferry. Right there, panhandle of West Virginia. Charlottesville, 40 mile an hour winds, and even into the evening hours. Let's get out. That's 4 o'clock. That's 7 o'clock tomorrow night. Still showing the potential for wind gusts up and over 40 miles an hour. As a result, it's still kind of post-winter here in D.C., or we're still trying to hang on to a little bit of winter here in D.C. So the ground is still a little soggy, it's still a little loose, and your trees haven't bloomed just yet. So some of the trees around the region are still a little dead after winter here. So we have to watch out for loose limbs, trees going down, and power line issues, all of which could be a problem into your day tomorrow. We do think there'll be power outages. Obviously, we can't tell you where, but the threat for power outages is certainly there as we head through the day tomorrow. In fact, National Weather Service out of D.C. and Baltimore put this out yesterday. And, they're just letting everybody know that, the potential for damaging strong winds is there. Possibly the strongest storm in at least 3 years here. I mentioned earlier on air, Hurricane Sandy, when it passed off to the north of here, brought a wind gust of 61 miles an hour to D.C. back in 2012. We could see similar wind gusts to that from time to time. I think it's the strongest winds in D.C. since at least the blizzard of 2016 back in January. I'm sure everybody remembers that storm. Brought us a lot of snow. This one's not bringing us any snow, but it will bring some big winds. So again, they're warning you to watch out for damaging trees and power lines and saying, hey, don't forget to check your flashlights if you need batteries. Refresh your batteries just in case you happen to have a power outages. And get blankets and stuff ready too, because the temperatures will drop as colder air wraps around this system. Quickly, before I get to travel alerts, I want to show everybody the wind advisories that they put into effect. These are high wind warnings. We don't see a whole lot of these here in DC. I know we had one in February of last year, and a lot of questions I get are on school delays. I don't know the criteria for school delays for wind around the DC region. I believe I was told that Fairfax County last year delayed on their high wind warning day in February. I think it'll just depend on whether or not we're waking up to power outages or not, for whether or not schools will be open. I think they will be. I mean, again, I'm no pro. The superintendents will decide that, not me. But just know that if power outages are an issue, sure, you could get a couple of schools without power, and that could cause some school issues tomorrow. But as far as weather is concerned, maybe we see some flakes, but that's not going to close your schools tomorrow. High wind watches remain in effect off to the north and west. But again, the warnings are worse than watches. So right now, warning means pretty high confidence from the National Weather Service that we're going to be looking at some strong winds tomorrow. It starts at 3 a.m. tomorrow morning, goes all the way until 7 p.m. tomorrow night. Do want to mention airlines real quick, because if you're traveling, especially to these cities, airlines are already saying you can start to adjust things because they expect travel issues. If you're going to Boston, Hartford, Islip in New York, New Haven, New York City, both LaGuardia, Kennedy, Newark in New Jersey, Philadelphia, Providence, White Plains, all these locations. This is from American Airlines showing that, hey, that's where they expect travel impacts. You can make travel adjustments without penalties tomorrow. Same thing with Delta. Many of the same cities in there: Providence, Newark, New York, Boston. JetBlue is doing something similar. There's all the cities that they are listing. They include Philadelphia, Providence, Rochester, Syracuse. All these areas that are expected to get hit as this nor'easter kind of spins off the coastline during your day on Friday. Southwest also doing much of the same. So just be aware of your travel plans. Again, we don't expect major weather issues in terms of rain or snow here in the Mid-Atlantic region, but we do anticipate that winds are going to cause some problems as we head through your day on Friday. Quick mention, beyond this particular storm, we're watching two other potential storminess areas. Now, it doesn't mean snow necessarily, but two things that we're watching going beyond this particular system are middle of next week, Tuesday, Wednesday. Similar situation, storm comes across the Midwest, tries to transfer to the coast. Right now, the model's saying there's not enough cold air around to make it snow, but we'll see. But anyway, that's one time frame we're watching. And then beyond that time frame, next chance we're watching is towards the next weekend into the early the following week time frame. Storm tries to come up from the south there. And again, it's way too early to tell whether or not it's rain or snow. It's just an idea of, hey, we're watching two other time frames for the potential for rain or snow. I hope that makes sense. All right, guys, that's all I have. Again, it's going to be a very, very windy day tomorrow. So we'll get you through it here at Fox 5. We're going to be on starting at 4 o'clock, as we always are now. And again, you can tune in. We're heading off here on Facebook now. But we're on until 11 o'clock, and Tucker Barnes is giving you the latest updates on Fox 5 News. Any questions from me, Mike Thomas, Fox 5 on Facebook, Mike T. Fox 5 on Twitter. I will answer any questions you have. We'll get you through this little windstorm we're going to have together here, and then we'll move on to a weekend. And the weekend, by the way, will be dry, sunny, but it will be on the cooler side with, breezes are going to hang around on Saturday. Friday's the worst day of the wind, but you're still going to have a little bit of a breeze out of the north and west throughout the day on Saturday. But at least it'll be a dry day with some sunshine. It's been 2 weekends, I think, since we've had a sunny weekend, so I think we deserve it here in D.C. All right, I'm going to end you with a live look outside at the Capitol. Cloudy skies overtaking the D.C. region, but no rain just yet. Take care, everybody. Have yourself a safe and happy Thursday, and we'll get you through the windy Friday ahead as we head through the next 24 hours. Take care.